What's up guys, Surf here, back with another Destiny 2 build video. This build is going to be based on Arc 3.0 and Hunters. It's going to be using the Liar's Handshake exotic arms, and we're also going to be using Risk Runner. Pretty much this build, you're going to be able to arc damage from opponent to opponent. So let's get into the build. First off, we're going to start with our subclass and our abilities. The super ability I chose to use is going to be Gathering Storm, which is the brand new one. Hurl your arc staff forward, embedding into surfaces or large targets, and jolting nearby enemies. I chose this one because you can pretty much throw it at champions or bosses and don't really have to worry about running around with the arc staff, something I'm not really interested, especially in this build. So that's the ability I chose. Next, we're going to move over to the class ability. I chose to use Gambling Dodge because this one's needed. Dodging near enemies will fully recharge your melee ability. Very, very important for this build. Then next, I chose to use Triple Jump for the movement ability, but you could also try out Blink if you're interested. And then after that, this one's also incredibly important. For the melee, you want to use Combination Blow, a quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacks 3 times. Defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. So it's a way you can kind of heal yourself back as well as getting your dodge back, which in turn gets you your melee back. And then next for the grenade, it's all kind of a preference here. I'm choosing to use the pulse grenade because I really enjoy it. Now moving on to the aspects, the first one we're going to be choosing is going to be flow state. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified, and while you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly, you are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. We're really not going to need the reload speed portion, but the getting dodge more quickly is going to help out a lot. And then for the second arc aspect here, we have Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted target with melee attacks also blinds them. So we're going to be using melee more than we're going to be using our gun here. So we're going to be blinding targets left and right. And that brings us to our 4 fragments. First one we're going to be using is going to be Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. Just kind of helps you stay alive a little bit. You get plus 10 strength with this as well. With the second fragment, we're going to be picking Spark of Amplitude. Rapidly defeat targets while you are amplified to create an Orb of Power. We're going to be using a couple of Orb of Power mods in the armor pieces, so that'll be a little bit helpful for there. Third, we're going to be going with the Spark of Brilliance. Defeating a blinded target with precision damage creates a blinding explosion, and you got plus 10 intellect as well with this. So we're going to be blinding a lot of enemies here. And then the last one we're going to be using is going to be Spark of Magnitude. Your lingering arc grenades like lightning grenade, pulse grenades, and storm grenades have extended duration, pretty much just so I can throw a grenade and then focus another portion of the map. Real fast, if you're enjoying it, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now let's move on to the stats. So normally for a hunter, we usually go mobility. I do not think it's necessary at all for this build. Thank the Lord. Today we're going with 100 resilience. Resilience is going to give you that plus 40% damage reduction that you're going to need to stay alive. And then the second stat I went with here would be intellect, just so I can kind of throw my super a little bit more. Really not necessary. The only thing we're really needed here is going to be 100 resilience. After that, you can do mobility to kind of get your dodge back a little faster if you end up losing it. But we pretty much are going to be synergizing our abilities so well that we're really not going to need it at all. Next, I'm going to move on to the armor pieces and the mods that we have with them. Starting off with the Arc Helmet, we chose to use a plus 5 resilience mod, and then we chose to use 2 hands-on armor mods. Gain bonus super energy on melee kills. We are going to be melee killing quite a lot here, so it's going to be pretty helpful for us. And then we're going to be using the Well of Striking Elemental Well mod. Picking up an Arc Elemental Well grants you additional melee energy. Multiple copies of this mod increase its effect. And then moving on to the arms, we chose to use the Liar's Handshake exotics here. Special perks is Cross Counter. Using your arc melee ability or being hit with a melee attack allows you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counter punch that will heal you. So you're going to be able to get heals off of this, and we're going to be meleeing legit 24/7, so that's all you need to worry about. And then from there, the mods, we used a plus 10 resilience mod. We did use a seasonal mod. Focusing Strike grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. And then from there, I used Bolstering Detonation, which grants class ability when you cause damage with a grenade. And then last, I ended up using Melee Well Maker. Powered melee combatant final blows spawn elemental wells matching your subclass energy type. we are going to be using our powered melee 24/7. We're going to be getting wells 24/7. And then from there, we're going to move on to the chest armor pieces. We got a +10 resilience on there. We have another seasonal mod, thermoshock plating, which reduces incoming solar and arc damage from combatants. And then from there, we have melee damage resist, because we're going to be up close and personal. So if we take any melee hits, we're going to be reducing that damage. And then last, we got elemental armaments. Combatant weapon final blows with a damage type that matches your subclass element have an escalating chance to spawn an elemental well. Now moving on to the leg armor, we got another +10 resilience mod. We got invigoration, which reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power, and then absolution, which reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb of power. And then last, we got seeking wells. Elemental wells you create will move across the ground towards nearby players, buffing you and your allies, plus makes it a little easier for those wells to get to you. And then last, we're going to go with the hunter cloak. I chose to use a +10 intellect mod here just so I can kind of get my super back a little bit faster. And then we're going to be using 2 utility kickstart mods. When your class ability energy is fully expanded, you get class ability energy. So we're going to be getting our dodges super duper fast. And then the last one we're going to be using is going to be elemental armaments. Combatant weapon final blows with the damage type that matches your subclass element have an escalating chance at spawning an elemental well. The faster we get these wells, the faster we get our abilities, and the faster that we keep rolling on this train with this build. Now moving on to the weapons that we're going to be choosing for this build. The kinetic or power weapons do not matter. That is all preference. If you want to go with something arc in the heavy slot, then that's probably a good idea. For the energy slot, this is where it is important. You should be running Risk Runner here. Risk Runner is an exotic SMG with a trait Arc Conductor. When taking arc damage, this weapon becomes more powerful, resists incoming arc damage. Kills extend the time in this overcharged state. So pretty much when you're taking arc damage, you're going to be shooting this weapon. It's going to be chaining to the other enemies, kind of just like our melee's doing. Again, we're going to be using our melee most of the time anyways, but having this Risk Runner SMG kind of just makes it more fun and more viable as a whole build together. And that's pretty much it for this build. Pretty simple. Again, all you're going to be doing is meleeing and then dodging and then meleeing and then dodging, and you're rinsing and repeat. That's pretty much it for this build. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like. Helps me out a ton. Consider subscribing because we got a bunch of Destiny 2 content on the channel right now. And with that being said, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.